luck if you don't see me before then, and I will catch up with you, hopefully, possibly, with a baby in my hand that's not Bonnie. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hello to everyone that's new here, because I've got a few new subscribers. Come over from my niece's Sophia's channel. Obviously from the title of this video, you can probably guess what's happened in the last few days, well, 6 days. She's a week tomorrow. Following on from the end of my last video, I actually said maybe the next time you see me I'll have a baby in my arms that isn't Bonnie, and that is the case. That has happened. Yeah, so following on from that last video, that evening I actually did go into labour, so all very exciting stuff. She's here, and she was 9 days early, which was lovely. Just been a bit of a... Sorry, Bonnie's in the other room. Mum of two life. Yeah, it's just been a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest. Just adapting to life as having two under one for the time being, because Bonnie's obviously not one for like 2 more weeks. She was 3 weeks before Bonnie's one. What's fine? You okay? I need a baby monitor set up, I think. I think I might have to get the baby monitor out so I can just see her in the other room on like the screen in front of me. Her official name is Maggie Mabel Grace Gibbs, which was a bit of a spontaneous, me and Chris literally decided on it 2 weeks before she was born. And yeah, she came out and she sues Maggie and Bonnie. So Maggie seems to have stuck. There's no real meaning behind it, to be honest. We just liked it. So there's no one in our family called Maggie. Yeah, so here she is. She's tiny. Well, she's not actually tiny. She's not actually tiny, are you, Mags? Perfect, aren't you, Maggie Moo? Absolutely perfect. So I thought I'd just run through like the birth. Obviously, if you're not bothered, just that's it really. That's Maggie. Just wanted to meet her. You're not bothered about the birth story, but it is actually a very, very positive birth story for anyone that's expecting a baby and wants a bit of like positivity around it. I was very, very, very lucky with the birth. So basically, as I said in the last video, I'd been a bit poorly. Bonnie had a bug. I then obviously caught the bug and hadn't been able to eat or drink anything for 3 days. I'd been in and out of hospital, just having checks done. They gave me a sickness injection, basically just vitamins and anti-sickness, just so I could try and keep food down. And that was on the Tuesday. Yeah, the Tuesday, the 1st, and then I went home that night. I was able to eat a little bit. Then the next day, the Wednesday, the 2nd, I was able to again eat a little bit. I'd planned to go out with my friends that night as like a last minute night out. I wouldn't call it a night out, but a last minute trip out with my friends, my close friends, some work friends. Sophia came, and then we went to the bingo because that's the sort of thing we like. And we were just there. We went for a Nando's, and then we went to the bingo, and then we were there. I was having tightenings, but I'd been having Braxton Hicks for like 2 weeks solid, like on off. Sorry, that was it. When I went to the hospital the first time, they said that I was having 2 tightenings a minute when they were 2 tightenings every 10 minutes. When they were monitoring her movement, and they said, like, are you in labour? And I said, well, I don't think so. Like, I'm not uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not in pain. See, I've been in that hospital. So then they said, oh, they monitored me and they could see I was having 2 tightenings a minute, every 10 minutes. And they said, look, are you in labour? I said, I don't think so. I'm just uncomfortable with these Braxton Hicks. But other than that, I'm not having any pain. They then examined me and they said that I wasn't actually dilated, so I wasn't actually in labour, but my cervix was getting ready. Basically it was getting ready, stretchy or whatever they call it. And then the following night I then went out with my friends to Nando's and Bingo, and I was obviously still having these still having these tightenings. It was just uncomfortable, but as I said, I didn't think anything of it. I'd been so uncomfortable for like 2 weeks. I just didn't think anything of it. I was literally texting Chris moaning that I was uncomfortable. Same old stuff, poor boy, he's just been bored with my moaning. And then I got home about 10:30 that night. My friend drove, because Chris said, just in case you go into labour, I don't want you driving, or like in case I start to feel sick again. My friend dropped me off about 10:30. Got into bed about 11, still moaning, I was uncomfortable, but just standard stuff really. Yeah, just had indigestion basically, and I just was so uncomfortable. And then I literally woke up at 11:55, so about 55 minutes later, and I was in excruciating pain. Not excruciating, I was in a lot of pain. I literally rolled over, I grabbed Chris, I was like, ah, something's happening, something's happening. I think it's the bug. I was convinced it was the bug. I was like, I'm really uncomfortable, and it went on for like 2 minutes, this really strong pain. I was like, what on earth is going on? I was like, oh, I don't know, like, something's going on. I was like, maybe I need the toilet. Trying to go to the toilet, couldn't go to the toilet. I was like, something's wrong. And then about half an hour went past, and I was still having these awful pains, quite close together, quite intense. And then I rang my mum, because obviously I needed someone to come and have Bonnie, because it was the middle of the night. My mum answered. I said, just so you know, something is happening. I'm not sure what, if it's the bug or the baby, but something is happening. So I said, something's happening, hold fire, don't come over just yet, give me a half an hour longer just to double check, see what's going on. And half an hour went past, I was still having these really intense contraction pains. So I said, look mum, come over anyway, just in case, like, I feel like I need my mum. I was in a lot of pain, and they were really intense, and they were coming quite quickly, but I was still at this point convinced it was the bug. My waters hadn't gone, I hadn't had any, like, a show or anything like that, but I was just convinced it was this bug. So my mum turns up about 1 o'clock. Yeah, about 1, just after 1, and she basically just took one look at me and said, the baby's coming, Lydia, you need to ring the hospital. Let me just let the bloody dog out. Yeah, so my mum turned up and she took one look at me and said, look, the baby's coming, Lydia, you need to go to hospital. I was like, I started to panic a little bit then, when the realisation that I was actually in labour. And then Chris rang the hospital for me to let them know they were, like, to ask them, because you have to talk to them before you go in. And they said, they were asking lots of questions, and they just said, can you feel the baby move? And I just said, my stomach is like a rock, I can't feel anything, to be honest, and I'm in a lot of pain. And then they just said, yeah, okay, come in. And we literally, I think we left, I texted a couple of people when I was getting on the M11 at 7 minutes past 2 in the morning. So I'd had my first contraction at 11:55, and by 7 minutes past 2 I was on my way on the M11 with Chris. I was in a lot of pain, I still felt really sick. I was like, Chris is like shouting at me to get dressed, to get in the car, and I just literally was just so uncooperative. But anyway, we were on our way on the M11. Luckily it was really early in the morning, there's barely anyone on the road, which is really lucky, because that M11 can be horrendous. And then we got there, I could see my contractions, I had my contraction counter on my phone. They were literally like a minute, just under 2 minutes apart. And you're meant to go in when you're having 3 every 10 minutes, lasting about a minute. And these contractions were coming, they were just under 2 minutes apart. They were really strong. And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, please just stay in there. I can't give birth on the M11 in this car. Please just stay in there. And I said to Chris, you're gonna have to drop me at the front. when I went in with Bonnie, it was all really like relaxed. I was like, it's fine, we can park, don't leave me, I want you to walk me in just in case, like with the bags and stuff. And but with this one, I was like, drop me at the front, I need to get in that hospital. And at 2 in the morning, the main hospital is they locked the doors, so I was like, he dropped me off, I think it was like 2:30 at this point. I was like buzzing the buzzer, like, let me in, someone let me in. Oh, it was just stressful, and I was by myself because Chris had gone to park the car. They let me in, and I literally had to make my way up to the delivery unit because that's where they assess you. And I was in the lift like doubled over. I mean, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have gotten a lift because if that had broken down, it would have just been an absolute nightmare. But yeah, then I got up to the delivery unit. I think it was like just gone 2:30, and they buzzed me in and they just said, like, have you called? I said, yeah. I said, I'm in so much pain, someone just help me. Someone help me. They then got me in a room, and then like within 5 minutes, they basically said, you're 7 centimeters. And oh my gosh, the relief. The relief that I was 7 centimeters, and I mean, you get to 10, so I was just so relieved that I'd only had to endure the pain, the contractions for 2.5 hours, and I was at 7 centimeters. I mean, I was so relieved, but I mean, it was really painful that my water still hadn't gone. So they then popped my waters for me just to try and, because her head was still quite high, to try and bring her head down. I saw in my notes, literally from the time, at this point I was on gas and air. I literally walked into the delivery room that they put me in, and I said, give me gas and air. I need something just to like release, I don't know, just anything, just to take my mind off the pain. So they gave me gas and air. It was too late really to have anything else. She was coming too quickly. So then they popped my waters, and then to bring her head down, and then from them popping my waters to me actually giving birth was 35 minutes. So really fast. I mean, it was just a literal whirlwind of an evening. I'd been at the bingo, and then I was just in hospital giving birth. It was just really surreal, and no one knew because everyone was asleep. No one was expecting it because she was 9 days early. No one was like really watching their phone. From then, I started pushing because my body just took over, and I remember that feeling from Bonnie. Your body just literally, you just can't hold it in anymore, and I felt her head just getting lower and lower, and then I was like, she's coming, pushed her out, which was painful. With Bonnie, I was numbed, so I didn't really feel anything. But wow, when they talk about the ring of fire, holy moly, it was like a Bunsen burner. It was just crazy, but the pushing was just like relieving the pain, which was nice. Well, I say nice. I found the pushing to push the pain away was just such relief, rather than having to like try and hold it in and like breathe through it. She was born at 4:05 in the morning, so literally 4 hours 10 minutes from my first contraction. Then they gave me the IOPT for the injection for the placenta to be delivered. They then had a slight issue with the placenta. It wasn't coming away as they wanted it to. They then asked me when was the last time I went for a wee, but to be honest, I just couldn't remember anything. I was literally really like overwhelmed that I'd just given birth out of the blue basically. They had to have a catheter fitted just to empty my bladder basically, because they said that can hold in the placenta. I mean, I don't know, but it worked. The placenta then came away, it was all fine. Then I had a little bleed, which they had to monitor to make sure it then didn't turn into anything bad, but that was all fine. They then checked me all over, like down in the area. I had a tiny like inner tear, like not. With Bonnie, I had an episiotomy, which is basically they cut me, whereas this time I didn't have that, but I did have a tiny inside tear, and they said that they just wanted to give that like 2 stitches or whatever just to be safe. That was really fine, to be honest. The idea of it is horrendous, but it's actually absolutely fine. You just, by that point, you just don't care. You just do not care. They did all that, and then basically that was it really. Everything else was checked, and They were really happy. I was absolutely fine. I still can't believe I did not have a single needle injection in my arms. They just checked us all over. She was fine. They weighed her and stuff. Oh, Minx is on her way. Yes. Excuse me. What are you doing? Okay, she's going upstairs, baby. And then we had to just wait for her like top to toe checks and stuff, but that was all cleared and that was all fine, and we literally was sent home the same day. So I had her at 4:05 in the morning and we literally left the hospital at 4 PM that afternoon. Yeah, it just was literally crazy how quick. I literally never thought I'd be that person that had a really quick birth. They always say, oh, the second baby comes so much quicker, but yeah, they weren't joking. We literally got home at like 5 o'clock that night. Saw Bonnie. She's none the wiser, to be honest. If she whinges, she looks at her, but literally none the wiser. And then we had a couple of people around that were like desperate to meet her. Yeah, I mean, I'm just so blessed and so lucky that it went the way it went, really. It was like, I don't want to say textbook, but like I couldn't have asked for it to have gone any better, really. I'm just home with my girls now, and me and Chris are home with the girls, and it's just, I'm a mum of 2. Like, what? In under a year, I'm a mum of 2. It's just the most surreal thing. Just taking it day by day, doing our best. We are very lucky and very happy and very blessed to have 2 healthy girls. Yeah, I hope that's like a bit, if anyone's pregnant, like makes them feel a little bit better that actually birth is, I mean, it's no denying that it's painful. Like, it is painful, but you do get through it. There is positive births. You don't have to hear all the horror stories. I hope that, yeah, this just makes you feel a little bit better, or it's just nice to listen to birth stories. I love listening to a birth story. When I was pregnant, that's literally all I listened to and watched One Born Every Minute, basically, just to like learn of different experiences. And like, obviously you can't plan for the unexpected, but like just to prepare yourself as much as you can. And yeah, it's worth it. Like, they are worth it. Yeah, they don't sleep much to start with, which can be a slight issue. They are so worth it. And thanks for listening to me chat away. Thanks everyone for welcoming little Maggie into the world. I'm gonna try and do my best to keep on top of videos and stuff, but at the minute we're just trying to like keep our heads above water a little bit. But yeah, anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for being here, and yeah, thanks for all the well wishes. Yeah, thanks guys. Bye.